Oh man, I hear all this shit that's going on about Crawford and Canelo. People are downplaying it, talking shit about Crawford lost to Madrimov. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all niggas saw. Excuse my language. I don't know what the fuck y'all people saw, but to me, Bud won that shit clearly. I had to rewatch it again because the first time I had it 117 to 111. But now that I watched it again, I actually had it 118, 110 for Bud. Yeah, y'all motherfuckers need to quit smoking that shit and drinking that shit when you're watching a fight because it's impairing your judgment. You understand? You know who I'm talking about. And I love your channel, but you got to quit. Bro, I thought you're supposed to save boxing. You're supposed to be saving boxing. And you're here downplaying Bud, who's the real one, and Canelo is arguably a fraud. Excuse me, I got tongue-tied there. Because I just think it's so damn hilarious that you could be downplaying Bud Crawford like that. I mean, boxing, this is what boxing should be about. You got the number one pound for pound, right? Arguably, the number one pound for pound fighter challenging the fake fucking pound for pound fighter in Canelo. And no disrespect to Canelo, he has an amazing resume. But his last like 5 fights, are not that impressive to me because he's been fighting the lesser echelon. You know what I mean? These guys are good, don't get me wrong. But, like, realistically, the 168-pound division, kind of the dudes at the top that they with a name, are not anywhere close to as skilled as Canelo or like Crawford or somebody at that magnitude. You know what I mean? Like, Canelo is always the better puncher than his opposition. He has the better footwork. He is flat-footed, but he has good footwork for being flat-footed. He always in a good position. He positions his feet like he's supposed to, and this and that. All right. He's always better than they are. He's just a way better puncher than those guys. So those guys are not even on that level yet. You know what I mean? He took those fights at the right time. Like Munguia. I never thought he was good enough. Yeah, he's a big dude, but he wasn't, like, skills say a lot. You know what I mean? And anyways, my point is this is what boxing is supposed to be. You got to have the most skilled fighter, right? This is what intrigues me. It's like my style versus your style. And their size ain't really too far off. You know what I mean? I'm going to say this shit logically, even though you guys might not agree. You know what I mean? This is why I like the fight. I like Crawford versus Canelo, but not so much Crawford versus the rest of the 168 pounders, because the size is a big deal in boxing. That's why they do make weight classes for a reason. But Canelo and Crawford is a different story. You know what I mean? Canelo's a big dude. He's real broad. He's got a wide body. He's a fat guy. You know what I mean? Fat guy with muscle. Nah, he's solidly built, but he's still 5'7.5". You know what I'm saying? He has a 70.5-inch reach. Crawford has a 107. He has a 74-inch reach, and Canelo has a 70.5-inch reach. I don't know if I said 100. I didn't mean to say that. Anyway, but yeah, bro, like, y'all are downplaying Crawford, and the Madrimov fight, he clearly won that fight. Madrimov was a good fighter, right? He did good. He had, you know what I mean? Like, those guys are that y'all need to put that shit down and put the sauce down when you're watching a fight, because it's impairing your judgment. You're not seeing the shit correctly. You know what I mean? Bud outboxed him. He outlanded him. He landed the better punches. Madrimov had some success, landed the right hand. He did land a couple of good left hooks, but it wasn't enough to win the rounds. You get what I'm saying? Like, I gave Madrimov round 5 and round 8. Round 9 and round 10 were good rounds. They were competitive rounds, but Bud still won those rounds. He landed more punches. He landed some nice combinations to the body, brought it up with an uppercut, you know what I'm saying? And Madrimov had a couple good right hands, maybe like 3 or 4 good right hands. And then you hear the commentators, like, I agree with Sean Porter. Sean Porter saw that shit clearly. He was like, I don't know what the fuck y'all are seeing, but clearly y'all motherfuckers don't box. Like, they're just people, they're like casuals with a job. You know, you get what I'm saying? He lands a few good right hands that were nice, good right hands. But you know what I mean? It's like the last minute of the fight, but then you forget what happened the whole 2 minutes. Bud was controlling it, hitting him with good, you know what I mean? Outlanding him almost the entire fight or entire round to win those rounds. Madrimov would hit him like 3 or 4 good punches, and everybody's like, oh, he won that round. Nah, man. That's not the way boxing works. That's why a lot of people get upset when they're like, oh, he got robbed. Really, they tried to rob Crawford in this fight. And then you got these other channels that are big channels. They're like trying to shoot down Crawford for some reason. I don't understand. I just don't understand why. They would rather see Jake Paul versus Canelo. Jake Paul, like, don't get me wrong, Jake Paul's good. He's good for boxing. But I mean, he hasn't, I mean, he's trying to save boxing. I get it. I respect it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'd rather see Crawford, somebody who I know is going to give Canelo a good fight. Even though a lot of people out there, he has a huge channel. You got 100,000 plus subscribers that go and they listen to this guy, and they start getting brainwashed. You know what I mean? Because they think he knows. They think he knows boxing. You know, because he says he does. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck how long you've been watching boxing. If you ain't ever done it, then how you gonna understand what you're seeing? You don't know what real good footwork is. When you like some of these other channels, they mistake explosive feet or fast feet for good footwork. But really, it's not an educated footwork. Or punching. Who's the better puncher? They think a hard puncher's a good puncher. Nah, that's not the way it works. You know what I mean? And I hope to God this video makes a lot of views, because people really need to get educated in boxing. They need to see it's not how hard you punch, it's how well you punch. You know what I mean? Your punch selection determines how good of a puncher you are. The way you snap your punches, you're supposed to turn your fists, and when you punch straight, you turn your fist and you snap it. It's about the snap. That's where your power comes from, right? And I argued this with Blue Blood Sports TV. Power comes from your feet. It does. He's like, no, power comes from your legs. I mean, motherfucker, it comes from your damn feet, because your feet is what always determines your balance. And the way when you balance, when you pivot your foot, you have to pivot your feet. The energy is derived from your foot. When you pivot it, and then you extend your fist, all that kinetic energy is coming out. So if you throw the proper punch, you're going to throw your best punch. And your best punch is always going to have the most power. All right? Let me just throw that out there. You know what I mean? And footwork is just not about speed. It's about placement. Educated footwork is where you're at. You know what I mean? Where you move and how you pivot. You know how you pivot your foot, how you're moving around. always maintaining balance, always ready. No matter what position you're in, if you got good footwork, you're always ready to deliver a punch. You know what I mean? And throw a punch with some power. And, you know, it's just, I'm just saying that. So when they downplay Crawford versus Canelo, Crawford does everything better than Canelo, period. Canelo's more of a hard puncher than a good puncher. But he's still a good puncher, but he throws with more power than he wants to throw with a proper, you know what I mean, with a proper punch. Crawford is a better puncher. You know what I mean? He's a better puncher than Canelo. I think he has the better IQ than Canelo. Canelo looks good. He's been looking good because he's been facing the lower tier guys, the guys that are not really on his level. But because they're big, they give him a good fight. You get what I mean? That's why him versus Crawford is a better fight than, let's say, Crawford versus Caleb Plant. You know what I mean? Because of Caleb Plant's size and his attributes, he's skilled, but Crawford is gonna lack the size because every fight that is approached different. You know what I mean? That's why they say styles make fights, because everybody comes in there, they got their own style, and sometimes the way it plays out, the size is always gonna be the determination. Like in that sense, like if it's Crawford versus, it depends who he fights. You know what I mean? Canelo don't have that much size to use against Crawford. He has to use the way Canelo fights. He's not really gonna go in there and utilize his size to keep Crawford back. You get what I mean? Canelo has to fight a different fight against Crawford. He has to come in there and try to bully Crawford, but Crawford's too good for that. That's an easier fight for Crawford when somebody's coming towards him. Now, versus somebody who's trying to box, you know what I'm saying? Like let's say Caleb Plant would. Caleb Plant's a lot taller than Crawford, so it's going to be a more difficult fight for Crawford. You get what I mean? Canelo's not that type of fighter. Same thing with Madrimov. Madrimov gave him a good fight, but he still lost the fight. You know what I mean? I don't understand. Like I said, man, I don't understand what y'all guys were seeing. Like, what the fuck are y'all seeing? You guys ain't really, like these guys with the channels, man, y'all ain't really trying to save boxing, bro. You're not. You're not. You want to see Benavidez. I always wanted to see Benavidez versus Canelo. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I always thought Canelo would beat Benavidez. But now, Benavidez is becoming a better puncher now. He has a lot more better punch selection. He's turning his fists now. He's throwing shorter shots. He's doing it right. You know what I mean? He's been improving a lot. And now I don't think Canelo should have fought this motherfucker when he had the chance, because he would have won. But now, not so much. Now you waited to fight Benavidez for I don't know what reason. I mean, I don't really believe Canelo is afraid of Benavidez. But for some reason, maybe he doesn't think he'll win. I don't fucking know, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But now I think Benavidez will take over, because Canelo has a weakness. If you can outpace Canelo, you're going to win. You can outbox. You can't just outbox Canelo. You get what I mean? You have to outpace him. Because if you have a faster pace than Canelo and you keep it up for 12 rounds, most likely you're going to win. Canelo has flaws. He's a great counterpuncher, hard puncher, good puncher. You know what I mean? Not the best footwork, but it's good enough to get the job done. He's better than most people in his weight division. You know what I mean? He's supposed to fight this dude, William Skull. He's a Cuban boxer. Not a good puncher at all. In my opinion, he's not a great puncher. Like, comparing him to the other pros and stuff, and people that are a good puncher. Like Canelo's a way better puncher than he is. He's a much harder puncher. People are probably going to think it's boring. It's going to be a boring fight because he likes Skull likes to box. I caught him a few little while back. Didn't really know who he was. I caught a couple of his fights, like 2 of them. I've seen him fight before, and that's the way he fights. He's not a great puncher. Every now and again he'll throw a good punch, but majority he don't really, you know what I mean? He don't really like sit on his punches. He doesn't throw the proper punch. Like I was saying earlier, what separates a good puncher and a hard puncher. You know what I mean? Anyway, and I was wrong about the Benavidez versus Morrell. You know, I don't always get it right. Like I said, Benavidez was the better puncher. And usually, if you've seen some of my other videos, I usually pick the better puncher to win the fight. You know what I mean? And usually all that comes with his IQ. All right? Whoever has the best IQ is always most likely going to win the fight unless they get caught with something. You know what I mean? But, Benavidez beat Morrell pretty convincingly. Good. It was a good fight. The knockdown was really a trip, by the way. So let me get that out of the way. What else am I gonna say? Yeah, but downplaying Crawford like that, I don't agree with it, man. Like, you ain't really trying to save boxing, in my opinion. Like, you got to be real, bro. Like, what are you seeing? I don't understand what y'all are seeing. All right? But Crawford whooped his ass, bro, pretty much. Maybe, all right, give him 3 rounds. Because the first time I watched it, I gave him 3 rounds. I gave Madrimov 3 rounds. He had 9 and 10 were competitive, but he didn't do enough. Like, I don't know what y'all are seeing. You guys got to stop. It's always punches landed. And obviously, power punches as well plays a part in it. All right? So, Madrimov landed like 4 good punches in some of those rounds. And that's not enough to win the fight when Bud's landing like fucking 20 punches. You know what I mean? And he's landed good whipping punches to the body. He throws nice uppercuts. He's piecing them up the entire time. You know what I mean? It's not enough. Madrimov didn't do enough to win. He did good. He fought a good fight. You know what I mean? He didn't get knocked out. It was a competitive fight. He could compete, but it shows lack of experience is why he didn't win. You know what I mean? He needs more seasoning, in my opinion, or to my expertise. Anyway, this is why I wanted to drop the video, because you got big channels out there saying this kind of stuff, man. I want you guys to comment and tell me what you guys think. Let me know what y'all think, man. Hey, hit the thumbs up. Like this channel. Please like this channel. Or like this video so more people can... You know, this is a conversation that I'm trying to have with you guys. I don't understand what you guys are seeing, you know? I'm watching boxing. It's supposed to be punches landed. Not, oh, he's looking good. I like his feints. You know, he's feinting. Those don't get you points, bro. You're supposed to land punches. That's what gives you points. I don't give a fuck if you're there doing this Roy Jones Jr. shit. That don't give you points. Punches landed gives you points. And Bud Crawford outpointed him easily. You know what I mean? It was a good fight, but Madrimov didn't do enough to win. Not even close. It wasn't even a split decision. It wasn't 115, 113. Motherfucker, I had that shit 118, 110. All right? Madrimov hardly won a round. You can, if you want to be nice, give him 3 rounds, because he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough to win that fight. So over there talking about give him a rematch. For what? He didn't win. It's back to the drawing board for Madrimov. Put the Canelo fight. Well, they're due to fight in September anyway. So that's that. You can hate on it all you want, but what are you gonna say if Crawford beats Canelo? What you got to say? Nothing. You can't say nothing. What are you gonna say? Oh, he's using snack. You know, he's cheap. Yeah, I get it. I don't like that either. But you can't act like Canelo never cheated anyway. He failed 2 drug tests. All right? Don't forget. He failed 2 drug tests for cambuterol or whatever. Who knows if he's still even using it? Because they don't really drug test like that. He could still be on that shit. That's why, how do you think he made it that far? You know what I mean? In weight classes, moving up like that, getting all that muscle. He's a small dude, man. He's a small dude. He is a very skilled guy. I'm not gonna take that away. He's not just that he's bigger than Crawford. That's gonna be a good fight, man. I still got Crawford winning because I feel like Crawford's the better puncher. Canelo's a hard puncher, so Crawford's gonna have to be careful in that fight. You know, obviously. It's obvious. Canelo is the heavier guy, the stronger. I can't even say stronger, but he's the harder puncher. He's definitely the harder puncher than Crawford. But I think Crawford is smarter. He has the better IQ, so I think he'll win. He'll win that fight. My money's on Crawford. I'm definitely betting on that fight because I think by the time it gets closer to the fight, he's going to be more of an underdog, maybe. I think so. Anyways, man, I want y'all to comment, like this video, please, because we need to get this shit. We need to address this. All right? That Crawford don't deserve it. Crawford's going to be 38 years old when this fight happens. There's no time for him to go and fight Lara. There's no time for that. Maybe he could fight Lara after he beats Canelo. You know what I mean? But he don't really belong on that division. Neither does Canelo. Canelo, I feel like at best 160, and he can compete against everybody. But he can't. I don't think Canelo can compete against everybody at 168 because there's going to be somebody there that's good enough, that's big, just like when he went up to fight Bivol. Like the guys at 168 are not too much different than Bivol. You know what I mean? So that's why he's selecting the right fights. Canelo's selecting the right fights at 168 so he can win them. But 168, if you look at the rankings, there's probably somebody in there that will beat Canelo, possibly knock his ass out. But he's smart. You know, he's in that position. People give him the position. It's not him. It's people are giving him the position. The sanctioning bodies are. And the fans are. You know, y'all got to quit. Don't drink your alcohol when there's a fight. When the fight happens, Canelo and Crawford, do not smoke your weed or your crack. I don't know what the fuck y'all are into, but y'all are clearly smoking some shit if you think Madrimov won. So we're going to need you guys to put down the drink, all right, and put down your blunts or pipes or whatever it is that y'all are doing, and watch this shit with a clear mind and pay attention, all right? That's that. JDO Boxing, I just wanted to say that, all right? Peace. Like. If you want, subscribe. But please like this fucking video. All right? I'm out.